Part 72. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 712. There was dead silence in the entire ward. Mr. Xia and Mrs. Xia who were brought here did not dare to say a word at all. Okay, Mrs. Huo closed her eyes and said calmly, I believe you don't know about the children being exchanged, but you dash. She opened her eyes suddenly and said in a cold tone, but you should never treat my child like that. Mrs. Xia and Mrs. Huo are about the same age. But in front of Madame Huo, she was so suppressed that she could hardly lift her head. She was so frightened at this moment that she murmured, Who told her to be a woman? She snapped. Mrs. Huo directly raised her hand and slapped Mrs. Xia. Mrs. Xia collapsed on the ground and cried in despair. She turned her pleading eyes to Huo Shiyun. But Huo Shiyun herself can't protect herself, and she hates the Xia family more than anyone else. I don't believe it, Huo Shiyun was almost going crazy. She yelled hysterically, you must have tampered with the instrument. I am the direct daughter of the Huo family, I am the Huo family. She absolutely does not want to have anything to do with the Xia family. Who is willing to recognize Mr. Xia and Mrs. Xia as parents? Huo Tianwen said coldly, quiet. Huo Shiyun stopped speaking instantly. Her shoulders were shaking and tears were streaming down her face. Mrs. Huo closed her eyes, sent her back to Free Continent to fend for herself. She has been very kind to Huo Shiyun over the years, more so than all the Huo family members. Huo Shiyun has no evolutionary blood and is an ordinary person. She feels guilty, so she is doubly kind to Huo Shiyun. But it turns out that even if the Xia family's genes reach the Huo family, they still carry the Xia family's dirty nature. On the contrary, Xia Yangkaiu, who had been neglected and taught by no one since he was a child, still became the leader of the spiritual alliance that protects the 5 states of Daxia. No, Huo Shiyun suddenly struggled, she was extremely frightened, I don't want to go back to Free Continent, I don't want it. Where is Free Continent? There is no order. A continent in chaos. Except for the main city, which is relatively peaceful, there are desperados like mercenaries everywhere. They burned, killed, and looted, never taking human life seriously. As long as there is no fight between the evolved races and ordinary people, the Holy Light Judgment Office will not care. She has been abandoned by the Huo family. If she returns to Free Continent now, the only thing waiting for her is death. Huo Shiyun, you don't know the consequences of what you have done over the years. Huo Tianwen smiled instead of getting angry. Those people you bullied didn't dare to do anything to you because of the Huo family. I want to see what they will do now. How to treat you. He stood up suddenly and ordered, send it back. Yes, the guard stepped forward and detained Huo Shiyun. Regardless of her objections, he took her out by force. By the way, there are you two. Huo Tianwen glanced at Mr. Xia and Mrs. Xia indifferently. Settlement all the expenses your daughter has spent on living in the Huo family for more than 40 years. I will give you the bill later. My secretary is for you. Upon hearing this, Mrs. Xia's eyes widened in disbelief. Why? Based on her knowledge, she really didn't know the scale and influence of the Huo family in Free Continent. But Mrs. Xia also knew that 1,000 Xia families combined could not defeat one Huo family. Huo Shiyun was so favored by the Huo family in the past, how could the Xia family afford her expenses? For no reason, considering that the Huo family has raised you a daughter for so many years, your daughter still wants to kill my sister. Huo Tianwen snorted and said, let's see if anyone dares to owe my Huo family money. Huo Tianwen was too lazy to pay attention to the old couple and helped Mrs. Huo leave. Waiting area outside. Is Yunjian still dead? Mrs. Huo leaned on her chair, feeling very tired. She murmured, my daughter is still gone. Since Huo Shiyun is not the daughter of the Huo family, what about her other daughter? Huo Tianwen was silent and kept smoking. Here, Xia Yangkai called Xiaoyu and briefly told what happened today. Oh, Xiaoyu was a little surprised. She's not your sister. No, Xia Yangkai hummed, there is something wrong with the entire paternity testing system in Free Continent. Xiaoyu's fox eyes suddenly narrowed. After a few seconds, he chuckled, this is not a good thing, it's really scary. Even the Huo family, one of the four major families, was fooled, which shows that the power of the people behind the scenes is not small. This is nothing more than preventing the Huo family from finding their real daughter. But since he was able to replace Mrs. Huo's daughter, why couldn't he kill the twins directly from the beginning? Otherwise, sooner or later, the Huo family will find their real daughter. Why not root out the problem in the first place? Even though he is as smart as Xiaoyu, he can't figure out the reason for this. I think so too. Xia Yangkai felt worried for the first time. I still don't know if your aunt is still alive. Xiaoyu was silent for a moment and said, Mom, I had already given up on this guess, but now something like this has happened again, so. He paused and said in a very soft voice, do you think it is possible that Mr. Si is also from the Huo family? Xia Yangkai was suddenly startled. Before she said anything, Huo Tianwen seemed to have thought of something. He patted his thigh and stood up. He looked a little excited. Mom, do you think Miss Si looks like my Huo family? Mrs. Huo immediately asked, Miss Si? Which Miss Si? Mom, I forgot, you haven't met Miss Si yet. Huo Tianwen became even more excited and said incoherently, Yanyan was dying and it was Miss Si who cured her. You haven't seen her. She looks just like Yanyan and Au. At that time, I was still thinking that it would be nice if Yangxing and Au had a girl in their generation. Mrs. Huo's expression brightened, then Miss Si's mother. Xia Yangkai held the phone and said, Qingqing's father is Yin Baikan of the Yin family, but her mother doesn't know. Both of them are missing now. Isn't this another coincidence? Huo Tianwen clapped his hands happily. Mom, even if Miss Si is not related to us by blood, she saved Yanyan, and it is worthy of our Huo family's repayment. A lot of things need to be tried and tested to find out. Huo Tianwen was also a little scared. Obviously, the people who manipulated the Free Continent paternity test system took into account his and Mrs. Huo's psychology. There has been no communication between Free Continent and several other continents. Most of them were elites from the Daxia Empire, Western Continent, and Dongsang Society who came to Free Continent for further studies. But 90% of the elites will eventually stay in the Free Continent. Free Continent is also richer than other continents. The local residents have everything they need, let alone go to other continents. If Huo Shiyun hadn't sent someone to kill Xia Yangkai on his own initiative, Huo Tianwen and Mrs. Huo would not have gone to the Daxia Empire. I would never even think of doing a paternity test at a paternity test center outside the Free Continent. Doctor, thank you very much. I will definitely build a hospital for you. Huo Tianwen hugged the doctor vigorously. If you want anything else, just say it. You are a great hero. My Huo family is lacking in everything. The doctor was a little confused. Before he could react, he heard Huo Tianwen say to the guard on the side, go and get 100 gold bars first. This is just a meeting gift. The guard responded and hurried into action. Doctor. He immediately refused, no, 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 this is my duty, you don't have to do this, it goes against my professional ethics. Huo Tianwen thought about it and said, how about I introduce someone to you? Doctor, okay. Okay, it's settled. Huo Tianwen patted his shoulder with a happy expression, if you have anything to do in the future, just come to me directly and I will do everything for you. After saying that, he immediately booked the nearest flight to Dongzhou. Together with Mrs. Huo and Xia Yangkai, they rushed over as quickly as possible. I have posted pictures of Qingqing and her sister as a couple, not, in my bib and reader groups, they are so beautiful. Next month is the first anniversary of Kinking's opening of the article, and we have prepared new peripherals for everyone equal 3 equals. Time flies so fast, so this book has begun to enter its later stages. Let me complain. After I said that I didn't add updates, I still got scolded by a few pirates. The comment area was not unblocked and the front desk didn't show it. I could see it clearly in the background, but my usual updates are better than those of the author you asked me to learn from. There are many, either because there are too many chapters or too many words. If I can add it, I will definitely add it. I definitely want to compete for the monthly ticket list. The higher the monthly ticket, the better Kinking's data will be, but my health really doesn't allow it. Thank you for your support, genuine babies. I will prepare a small update for you next month. See you tomorrow. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 713. The doctor watched the family of 3 leave in a hurry, squeezed his sweat, and let out a long sigh of relief. It seems that the rumors are right, Free Continent is indeed a continent full of gold. But compared to the object, gold is insignificant. What's more, collecting patients' belongings is indeed against professional ethics. The doctor walked away happily holding the folder. Here, the elite team of the Supernatural Administration arrived at the first hospital. These 2 old guys are the only ones left in the Xie family, right? One person said. The remaining few people have been investigated clearly, and since there are no supernatural matters involved, we can just leave all the power to the Thousand Army Alliance. The young man nodded in agreement. No one suspected of grey transactions and other illegal activities should be spared. Let's go back and report to the chief. Xie was stunned and asked quickly, who are you talking about? Of course the host is Master Xie Yu's mother, Master Xie Yang Kaiu. The young man glanced at the 2 of them strangely. Why, don't you know? After saying this, he left with his subordinates without looking at Xie's expression. Xie's face turned pale as if she had been struck by lightning. It's her. That's the Supernatural Bureau. For the people of Daxia, the 3 families and 4 alliances are far more intimidating than the Huo family in Free Continent. Xie Yang Kaiu didn't say anything? Xie was panicked and regretful. She looked at Mr. Xie who had just been put in a plaster cast. Oh old man, let's go and beg Yang Kaiu. She will definitely not be so heartless. Mr. Xie smiled bitterly and said nothing. He only knows that this time, he has completely killed all roads. Dongzhou, Ji family. The closer we get to the end of the year, the thicker the dark clouds hanging over the Ji family become. The Ji family has been hiding from the world for nearly 100 years. In the past 100 years, as the 4 major Yin and Yang families in Dongsang had guessed, the Ji family was not working behind closed doors and staying in their own ways. On the contrary, the younger generation of the Ji family are working hard to practice Onmyoji and 5 elements formation. It's just that some Onmyoji techniques have been lost forever in the torrent of history. Among them is Ji Chenyuan's overwhelming method that once single-handedly destroyed an army of 100,000 at sea. But even if this Onmyoji is still there, no one in the Ji family can perform it. Since Ji Chenyuan's death, no one in the Ji family has been able to reach his level. These days, Sci-fi has been going to Ji Chenyuan's practice place to practice yin and yang with him according to the time period mentioned by Ji Chenyuan. Maybe she really had no talent at all in stargazing, so Ji Chenyuan gave up. Sci-fi was very ashamed. Ancestor, I'm so sorry. No need to apologize, there are specialties in the art. Ji Chenyuan stroked his beard. There is something wrong with you. I can't see it for the time being. It's up to you to explore it yourself. Sci-fi's eyes deepened. Yes, ancestor. There are indeed many doubts about her. He was reborn after 3 years of death, and could travel back to the Great Xia dynasty with the help of the Eternal Game system. This is something that even Onmyoji cannot explain. Your soul is very solid, but there is still something missing. Today I will teach you how to cultivate your soul. Ji Chun Yuan said slowly, for us in Onmyoji, the soul is far more important than the body. When Si fucking climbed out of the game cabin, he felt as if he had died all over again. She could still feel the pins and needles of pain in her body. Si fucking drank a glass of hot water and finally took a breath. Tuck 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 dash. There was a knock on the door at this moment. Brother, that violent ant from the Supernatural Administration Bureau is here to find you. Ji Xingzi probed. She also brought 2 people with her. I don't know her, but the smell of blood is very strong. Huh, Si fucking raised his eyes. It's okay, let them come over. Not surprisingly, the Huo family should have come looking for her. A few minutes later, Ji Xingzi took Xia Yangkaiu and 3 others and returned. This was Mrs. Huo's first time seeing Si fucking. Her body suddenly shook. It really looks like. Mom Huo Tianwen patted her shoulder, signaling her to calm down. He took a step forward and explained his future plans to Si fucking. Si fucking's eyes sharpened. So you suspect that my mother is probably Aunt Xia's sister? That's right. Huo Tianwen nodded. Although there are differences between identical and fraternal twins, in the past we thought that there was no big problem if Huo Shiyun and Yanyan looked alike. But Huo Shiyun is clearly not from my Huo family, so and I thought of you immediately. Si fucking was very calm, but the next generation cannot do a paternity test. It can only determine whether there is a biological relationship. Don't be afraid. That's enough. Huo Tianwen smiled casually. Miss Si, you have done too much for the Huo family. You saved Yanyan, so what if I give half of the Huo family to you? Xia Yangkaiu suddenly said, if my sister and I are identical twins, then our DNA sets are the same. Ching ching, you can do the identification with me. Huo Tianwen's expression brightened. Yes. Gene is a contradictory complex of stability and variation. So except for identical twins, there is no identical DNA. The principle of paternity testing is that as long as the DNA similarity between 2 people is more than 99%, the paternity relationship can be determined. Mrs. Huo wiped her tears. Tianwen is right, my child, what do you think? Si fucking nodded. I can do it, but my mother. Yin Baikan came in a hurry last time and left quietly. He never left any information about her mother, not even her name. But if her mother was really the younger sister of the twins, then she must have been abducted when she was just born. Today's name has nothing to do with the Huo family. Until now, her mother has never shown her face. We've thought about this. Huo Tianwen looked serious. I'm going to use Yanyan's face for facial matching. Since the 2 of them are so similar, we might be able to find traces of your mother. This is indeed a way. Si fucking also agreed. She frowned again and asked, what's going on with Free Continent's paternity testing system? Huo Tianwen was silent for a moment. Mom, and I don't know either, there must be a big conspiracy behind this. There is nothing wrong with the DNA sample, so there must be an error in the identification system. Si fucking thought for a moment, then turned on her computer and said, let me take a look. She tapped her fingers on the keyboard a few times, and the entire paternity testing system network in Free Continent was displayed on her computer. Huo Tianwen was so shocked that he opened his mouth. Miss Si, what are you? Oh, it's nothing. I know a little hacking skills. Si fucking said calmly. Now I want to see what kind of manipulation this system has had. Huo Tianwen. Small. Are there any huge differences in their concepts of this word? Although the paternity testing system is not considered the Free Continent's defense network at all, it would be too terrifying to directly invade the Free Continent's system from the Daxia Empire, right? Huo Tianwen stood far away in awe. Xia Yangkai was also surprised. Ching ching, do you know how to use a computer? Well, I learned it by the way I fucking entered another program. A prompt box popped up on the computer, indicating that the corresponding program was being captured. Not long after, under SI fucking's operation, such a program operation appeared on the screen. Target DNA sequence detected. Make changes according to established procedures. Under modification. Modification completed. DNA has been successfully matched. In front of the computer, everyone felt as if they were falling into an ice cellar as they looked at the program that SIFU had poured out. Even the Huo family, who were accustomed to violence, suddenly felt chills all over their bodies. Huo Tianwen calmed down for a moment and exhaled slowly. In other words, since we did the first paternity test, the results have been modified. Yes, SI fucking narrowed his fox eyes. Someone designed such a program based on Huo Shiyun's DNA sequence. The program modified her DNA sequence to be 99% similar to the old lady's DNA sequence, so that a matching result can be obtained. After listening, Huo Tianwen's expression changed suddenly. Before he could say anything, he was interrupted by the sudden sound of an alarm. Diddy. At the same time, the computer screen was covered by large red characters. Warn. The computer is being invaded by unknown signals. Invasion progress 30.3%. Xia Yangkai's expression changed. Did the other party find out? Ching Ching, can you stop it? SI fucking put his fingers on the keyboard and quickly started counterattack and tracking. But the numbers are still jumping, skyrocketing at a rate of 30% per second. Invasion progress 60.9%. Huo Tianwen's heart was in his throat. The progress bar jumped again. Invasion progress, 99.8%. Good morning. Thank you everyone for your monthly votes and tips. I will take a rest and then code. See you in the afternoon. I have an old problem with my arms. I have had it since I wrote Lord, and it has been on and off. Epsilon equals Omicron asterisk. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 714. Several people's hearts stopped. Although Huo Tianwen and MRS Huo knew nothing about computers, they still understood the meaning of the progress bar. SI fucking remained calm despite the danger and continued to type on the keyboard. The progress bar is firmly fixed at the 99% position. Suddenly, a new pop-up box appeared. Anti-tracking in progress. MRS Huo breathed a sigh of relief. Ching Ching is so amazing, it scares me to see. Huo Tianwen was very proud. That's how it is possible that our family is not great. MRS Huo slapped him on the head. Not yet, don't be complacent here. Huo Tianwen. He is over 50 years old, and he was beaten by his mother. Do you want to save face? That's not right. SI fucking's expression gradually became serious. I only tracked that the signal last appeared in the main city of Free Continent, but it quickly disappeared. Without a trace, as if it had never existed. This situation was the same as the last time she used the tracking talisman given to her by Yuan Mingqi to track the Godfather. SI fucking's eyes darkened slightly. I'm afraid that even if they are not the same person, they are still in the same group. Check. MRS Huo took a deep breath. We must check, otherwise the consequences will be disastrous. Huo Tianwen nodded seriously. Ching Ching, give me a piece of your hair. Xia Yangkai said, I'll do a paternity test for us. After all, she only has one son, Xia Yu. If SI fucking's DNA can successfully match hers, it will prove that SI fucking's mother is indeed her sibling sister. SI fucking came back to his senses. Okay. Xia Yangkai and the other three immediately went to the hospital in Chengcheng. Brother, you are not really the Huo family, are you? Ji Xingzi danced excitedly. That would be great. The Huo family is one of the 4 major families in Free Continent, with a shady status. Hi. Si fucking held his chin. I don't care about this. I'm just wondering who is stopping the Huo family from finding Anxia and my mother, and what's their purpose. The truth will eventually come out. Ji Xingzi sighed. Brother, why don't you wait for the identification results to come out? The results of the identification will not come out until 3 hours later. Si fucking stood up lazily. So I will take this opportunity to go to your ancestor to study, and after I have been grinding him for a few days, I will give you all the yin and yang techniques he wrote. Take it out, there's not much time left. Ji Xingzi. His eldest brother was indeed crazy with joy. Si fucking has been connecting to the game system in sleep mode. In this way, she stayed in Daxia Dynasty for 10 hours, but only 1 hour passed in reality. During this period of time, she has been cultivating her soul with Ji Chunyuan. Today, Ji Chunyuan finally looked at her with a serious expression. Wait. Si fucking raised his head. Ancestor. Your gender. Ji Chunyuan struggled to enunciate. Are you not a man? Si fucking exclaimed. Can ancestors see it? How could a girl resurrect her corpse in the body of a male military advisor? Ji Chunyuan was stunned for a moment, then suddenly slammed the table. Oh no. Seeing him standing up suddenly, Si fucking's expression became stern. What's wrong? Many years ago, when I first met you, I told His Majesty that you were a man of great luck. Ji Chunyuan became annoyed for the first time. If 2 kings fight, one will die, and not only that, the world will be devastated, and the people will be in dire straits. So I ask your Majesty to kill you on the spot before you grow up. I am your Majesty's minister, so I will naturally turn to him. Si fucking nodded. Your Majesty told me about this before going down. So I said it was bad. Ji Chunyuan exhaled slowly. At that time, I thought that you were a man and would only be in tit for tat with His Majesty. However, I didn't know that the fight between these 2 kings must be of the same sex for it to have negative consequences. Si fucking understood, but it's okay, your Majesty didn't take my life. Yes, fortunately, your Majesty is wise. Ji Chunyuan stretched out his hand to comfort her. Let me see, just relax, I won't hurt you. The next second, Si fucking felt a shock on his body, as if his soul had left his body. At the same time, Ji Chunyuan also saw clearly the real owner of this body. The girls wore fancy clothes that were not available in this era. But in fact, this is a game uniform equipped in the game cabin, which can protect the player's body. Her long crimson hair was soft and scattered in the air, shining brightly. A pair of fox eyes are clear and bright, with a calmness that belies his age. From eyebrows to chin, every inch is perfect. Ji Chunyuan blurted out, what a beautiful girl. Si fucking was not modest at all, just average, 3rd in the world. No wonder Ji Chunyuan finally realized, you are a girl and His Majesty is a man. Opposites attract each other, so naturally there is no conflict. Alas, what a mistake. Not only will they not conflict, but they will complement each other. Si fucking asked seriously, you can see my soul, so can you knock a person's soul out of the body with one palm? Oh, Ji Chunyuan smiled slightly, so, have you ever met such a person? Si fucking acquiesced. Her master is the Lord at the top of the clouds. It's not difficult to punch the soul out of the body, Ji Chunyuan said lightly. After punching out, the soul can be returned to the body without affecting the other person's future life. How terrifying this person is. Si fucking nodded silently. Yunjin is indeed a very scary man. She could count on her fingers the number of times she had seen him alone, and her understanding of him was only the tip of the iceberg. As for the head of the Holy Light Judgment Office, she has only heard his voice so far, but has never seen his true face. But what is certain is that the strength of these 2 people is definitely above that of the Dean of Eternal College. Indeed, I can, and I can teach you. Ji Chun Yuan smiled, but your cultivation is still short, I'm afraid it will take some time. But if you follow me and continue to cultivate your soul, you will be able to directly see the human soul within 3 months. Sci-fi was a little confused. Ji Chun Yuan said calmly, after all, you also said that you have seen someone who can knock someone else's soul out of the body with one palm. If the body is occupied by other souls, you can tell it with just one glance. Sometimes our eyes can deceive us. Sci-fi's expression brightened, thank you, ancestor. No need to say thank you. Ji Chun Yuan sighed softly, I don't have much time, I will leave everything I can teach you to you. Sci-fi thought for a long time, ancestor, can you record the yin and yang techniques you wrote in a notebook for me? You are not from the Ji family, so you don't have to sacrifice for them. Ji Chun Yuan knew what she was thinking and sighed, it's fate, you can't escape it. Fate is only when it is in one's own hands. Sci-fi said calmly, I believe in fate, but I don't accept it. You look so much like His Majesty. Ji Chun Yuan's body trembled, what a pity. Sci-fi looked at him, what's the pity? It's a pity that I don't know who asked you to borrow a man's body, so that I only discovered that you are a woman now. Ji Chun Yuan shook his head, otherwise, you and your majesty would have been a perfect match. Sci-fi choked and vomited a mouthful of tea all over the floor. She immediately retorted, no. Ji Chun Yuan was surprised, why not? Yin and yang, the 5 elements, and luck complement each other. A couple is made in heaven, and even God cannot oppose it. Sci-fi was very cold, I object, he can only stay with his world. Ji Chun Yuan. Ah, it seems that the future is a very wonderful world. Otherwise, how could we give birth to such an interesting female doll? Sci-fi whispered, and I have a boyfriend. She added seriously, he is petty and jealous. This is not possible. Ji Chun Yuan smiled, of course a beautiful girl like you must find the best man. He will definitely not be as good as your majesty. No. Sci-fi rubbed his head, ancestor, please stop asking and teach me. Ji Chun Yuan laughed, okay, okay. The other side. Ji Xingzi was bored and went to the hospital with the Huo family. After waiting for 3 hours, I finally got the identification results. My hands are shaking. Huo Tianwen stammered for the first time, Mom, otherwise you. Mrs. Huo hated that iron could not become steel, can't you see that my hands are shaking like chicken feet? Ji Xingzi heard this and immediately volunteered, hey, I'll do it, my hands won't shake, and I'll help my eldest brother find his family. This is the responsibility I should bear. Huo Tianwen handed him the appraisal certificate. He opened the paternity test certificate happily and said, here, let's take a look. Don't panic, don't be afraid. I haven't finished one chapter of this plot. After thinking about it, I will work hard to finish it today. See you tonight? Unexpectedly, the pirated account changer who was permanently banned from Kidian yesterday came again, and I will lock you in a dark room again. Mainly, your original words are quite funny, you should learn from the guy on the mail channel next door, who competes for monthly tickets every 7 or 8 times a day, why are you so lazy, it will be unpleasant to listen to later. With a learning attitude, I went to read the usual update of 4 chapters and 4,000 words, well, I can't argue with you. Male and female videos are also incomparable, right? Suddenly I remembered that there are 2 male video masters I like very much. Everyday pigeon text, wipe your tears, I really want to send you a razor blade. Anyway, I don't care what you say, and I'm not angry. I'll just treat it as a joke and share it with readers. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 715. Mrs. Huo and Huo Tianwen didn't dare to open their eyes. Xia Yangkai also turned her back, her trembling shoulders betrayed her anxiety. Zing, I'll read it to you. Ji Xingzi was helpless. Listen, through Mendel, forget it, it's not important, I hate creatures the most. He looked down and read aloud, the identification results support that A is B's biological daughter. Xia Yangkaiu suddenly opened his eyes and cried with joy, Qing Qing is really my sister's daughter. Identical twins have the same DNA, and the identification results are backed up by science. Mrs. Huo's body trembled violently. She covered her face, tears streaming down her fingers, also alive, alive, it's great. Mom, calm down, don't go back for a while to scare Mrs. I. Although Huo Tianwen said that, a choke sob came out of his throat. He wiped his tears in embarrassment, really. Unexpectedly, he not only has a nephew, but also a well-behaved and lovely niece. His two genius sisters are also alive. There is nothing better than this. The three Huo family hugged and cried for a while, and then cried and laughed. Ji Xingzi was at a loss, don't cry, other people look at us very strangely. There are a lot of bloody things happening in the paternity laboratory every day, and it is not uncommon for those sitting at the door to cry. But it is rare for three people to cry together. There are indeed many people around who frequently look at them strangely. Let's go back. Xia Yangkaiu, calm down first, tell Qing Qing about this. Ji family. Sci-fi was still in the game cabin, receiving Ji Chenyuan's teaching in the Great Xia dynasty. Cultivating the soul is indeed more difficult. It is indeed a long time before she wants to reach the realm of seeing other people's souls directly through the naked eye. But Ji Chenyuan said it well, and this will become a means that she cannot ignore in the future. It will definitely help her a lot. After a round of training, Ji Chenyuan asked the boy to make tea. Sci-fi turned his head and looked out the window. This is the big summer months after Emperor Yin passed away. It is now mid-April. Winter is gone and spring is here, the birds are singing and the flowers are fragrant. The river warms up and everything recovers. On the first day of the new year, 3 families and 4 alliances established new emperors from their clans. The new emperor followed the edict of Emperor Yin to govern the 5 states of Daxia, and Daxia reached an unprecedented peak in 30 years. It jumped to become the number 1 in the world at that time. Zhao Zhao has summer, and heaven serves all countries. Bustling and prosperous, shining for thousands of years. The prosperous Xia dynasty, as he wished. Sci-fi just took a cup of tea from Ji Chenyuan's hand, and before she could taste it, she was prompted by the system that someone outside was waking her up. At the same moment, Ji Chenyuan raised his head and became aware. Someone's looking for you, he waved. Okay, it's time for you to go back. Come to me when you're done. The brainwave link was disconnected, and Sci-fi woke up. She pushed open the door of the game cabin, walked into the yard, and saw that Xia Yangkaiu and the 3 were waiting for her. She was very cramped, and when she saw her coming out, she didn't dare to step forward, and her face flushed as she stood there. Seeing the appearance of the 3, Sci-fi was already mentally prepared. She smiled, took the initiative to meet her, and called out unfamiliar and familiar titles one by one, grandmother, uncle, aunt. Hey, it's fine. Mrs. Huo's tears fell again. Grandmother found you too, but it was your uncle who asked to give it a try. It's great, we almost missed it. The villain who caused the loss of the Huo family's twins back then was really disgusting. Huo Tianwen was both happy and sad, but the whereabouts of the little sister are still unknown. Sci-fi replied softly, last time my father appeared in the sea to save me. I could see his face clearly, but I didn't have time to talk to him, and then he disappeared again. I think my mother might be with him, or maybe. She was reluctant to mention the word death. Something like death is too hard to bear. Sci-fi paused, then said, Grandma, I don't know if you've heard of my father, he's very powerful. Of course I've heard of Baikon's name, Madame Huo said with a smile. When I was the captain of the law enforcement team at Eternal Academy, I heard that the dean at the time highly praised him. Having said that, she was silent for a moment and sighed, unfortunately. It is a pity that such a thing happened, forcing the genius to leave the Yin family. But fortunately more than 20 years have passed, and Yin Baikan is still there. Mrs. Huo was also very optimistic about Yin Baikan at the beginning. Yin Baikan will marry her daughter, which is more than joy. Can grandma and uncle figure out who actually moved the hand of the Yin family? I fucking frowned. My uncle and I have been investigating for a long time, but there is no clue. Could it be the four major families? No. Huo Tianwen shook his head. Families in Liberty Continent have never interfered in other continents' affairs, because their strengths are so disparate. Si Fu nodded. Good. The smallest family in Liberty Continent can kill the Yu family in seconds. If any family dares to do this, it has already been controlled by the Holy Lights ruling before leaving the Free Continent. Huo Tianwen continued, if you say that whoever has the strength to kill so many people in the Yin family will not be punished, there is only the Holy Light judgment. But as far as I know, on the day of the Yin family tragedy, there was a huge loophole in the game system of Eternal Dot. The Holy Light judgment ordered the entire Free State to be under martial law, no entry or exit. The head of state also invited the Lord of the Top of the Clouds, the Dean of the Eternal Academy and the Dean of the Intercontinental Research Institute to discuss the matter together. Not bad, Mrs. Huo said. Freedom was closed for half a month before it was finally released. During this period, none of the evolutionaries above grade A have ever gone out. Si Fu's eyebrows tightened. Don't worry, the Yin family will also be investigated, Huo Tianwen said in a cold voice. If my guess is correct, it should be a group of people. Si fucking nodded, then trouble uncle. Ching ching, your evolutionary bloodline is also A level, right? Mrs. Huo touched her head. Don't you want to enter Eternal Academy? I won't go. Si fucking smiled. My fans are all in Daxia, and I will be responsible for them. Okay, ching ching, you and Yan Yan are staying in Daxia. Mrs. Huo also smiled. I will say hello to Eternal Academy for your brother and your brother. The direct line of the Huo family must not lose any more. Grandma, uncle, the enemy is unknown, you must pay attention. Si fucking's voice sank. When the enemy is dark and we are clear, you must hide your strength and not reveal all your trump cards. I don't need any banquet to reveal my identity, I just hope you are all well. Grandma knows. Mrs. Huo was a little sad. You are a young child, but you know how to take care of others so well, don't tire yourself out. Huo Tianwen breathed a sigh of relief. I can finally sleep well for a night. He had just walked a few steps, but suddenly, as if he had remembered something, he immediately took out his mobile phone. Mrs. Huo was a little puzzled. What's the matter? Is there any emergency in the family? No, I'm contacting that stinky boy. Huo Tianwen snorted coldly. This stinky boy said last time that I don't deserve such a niece, and I want to scold him to death. Si fucking raised his eyebrows. She almost forgot that Huo Yangxing was her eldest cousin after she and the Huo family recognized their relationship. Soon, Huo Yangxing's face appeared on the phone screen. He still had a cold expression. Is something wrong? Something important. Huo Tianwen chuckled. I'm here to tell you that you have a younger sister. So from today, you have no status in the Huo family. Your sister and Au have a higher status than you. Huo Yangxing looked at him blankly. You're not awake, are you dreaming during the day? In the Huo family, there is no girl in his generation. All are bastards. Mrs. Huo has always felt pity. Fart. I have evidence. Huo Tianwen was furious. Ching ching, come and call your cousin, let him see who is daydreaming. In order not to make everyone wait, hurry up and finish writing the plot of confession. Plus update, babies who now have monthly tickets can now vote for Ching Ching. All 7,000 are broken, so at the end of the month I will give King Kin another 8,000. The monthly pass will not expire at the end of the month. QWQ. For the first anniversary event next month, you can leave a message about what you like, pillow, calendar, etc. I can see it in the background. There will be a building grab, a fan list and a lottery. This is the last time this book has held a peripheral event, mainly because I didn't expect it to be written for a year. When it was first put on the shelves, the probability of this book dying was extremely high. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 716. He wanted to tell Huo Yangxing that old age is still hotter. Huo Yangxing looked at Huo Tianwen indifferently, with an expression like "I want to see where you can find me a sister." Until the girl appears within the narrow frame of the shot. She is a stunning girl. It would not be an exaggeration to call it upside down. But it would be nice if it wasn't a face he recognized. Sci-fi waved lazily and greeted Huo Yangxing very naturally, "Cousin." Silence spread through the mobile phone where Huo Yangxing was. His usually expressionless face was now shattered, almost chattering. It was also the first time that Huo Tianwen saw his son behave like this. He was extremely proud. "What are you doing standing still? Why don't you prepare a gift for your cousin? When she goes to Free Continent, don't be empty-handed. I'm telling you, if you don't prepare something good, don't go back to this place. He will let this boy know why the flowers are so red today." Huo Yangxing is still in the process of falling apart. "Cousin," I called out again unhurriedly, "why don't you scream when you see me? Do you not like me?" This sentence made Huo Yangxing wake up instantly. Under the unkind eyes of Mrs. Huo and Huo Tianwen, he truly realized why Yu Jian said that Si Fuqing was guilty. "Huo Yangxing, no, I'm not ready, cousin. Who can be prepared for this?" "Then you have to be well prepared." Si raised his eyebrows. "I will check." Huo Yangxing. He could definitely tell that she was using this to remind him not to catch Yu Jian so easily. After Si exited the camera, Huo Yangxing barely regained consciousness. He took a deep breath. "What's going on? Didn't this prove that Huo Shiyun is not your aunt? Then your aunt is someone else." Huo Tianwen clicked his tongue. "I told you last time that Qing and Au look so similar, they might be the biological children of our Huo family." "Of? No, use Yanyan's DNA instead of your sister-in-law's DNA to do a paternity test with Qing, and it will be done all at once." Huo Yangxing. "Is this humming okay? He has been working for Yu Zian in the Zero Gang for a long time, so he is naturally an experienced investigator. When they investigate cases, they pay attention to linking clues one by one and using evidence to speak for themselves. Why is there such a whim? You should learn from Qing. Look at her. She has good medical skills and high computer skills." Huo Tianwen hated the iron. "Look at you, you are 30 years old, but you can't even kidnap a girl, got it?" Huo Yangxing, "I'm dead. Why does everyone like to poke knives in him?" Huo Tianwen finished packing Huo Yangxing and was satisfied. "Hey, son. Here." Xia Yangkai also felt refreshed and dialed Xia Yu's phone number, praising him and saying, "You are so smart for once. It's really good." Xia Yu raised his eyebrows. "So it has been proven that teacher Si is my cousin." "That's right." Xia Yangkai was very happy. "Although she is not my biological daughter, she is no different from my biological daughter. Finally, my dream came true." Xia Yu said with a leisurely expression, "Congratulations to you, Ms. Xia. You can fend for yourself in eternal college." Xia Yangkai said with joy in every word, "There is no need to come back for the new year, I have Qing with you." Snapped. The call was hung up. Xia Yu. What a double standard world. He is hurt in this world of double standards. At this time, Yu Zian received a call from Huo Yangxing. Huo Yangxing breathed in, his voice still trembling. "You, what, you?" Yu Zian poured a cup of tea. "Speak if you have anything to say." Huo Yangxing finally said a complete sentence, "Do you know that Miss Si is my cousin?" Hearing this, Yu Xian's eyebrows moved slightly. "Well, I understand now. You can actually be calm." "How can you be calm?" Huo Yangxing was rarely excited. "I never thought that I would have such a relationship with you one day." "Oh," Yu Xian's light voice contained a slight smile, "what does it matter? Do you want me to call you uncle?" Huo Yangxing. He was getting chills all over. "No, you are my brother." Huo Yangxing gritted his teeth. "If you don't help me chase Yu, it won't be justified. I won't marry my cousin to you." Yu Xian hummed lightly, "You can't make the decision." Huo Yangxing. He really can't make the decision. His status is the lowest. "I can't talk any more today." Huo Yangxing hung up the phone angrily. Feng San was also confused. "Brother ninth, in other words, Miss Si is also a descendant of the Huo family. Isn't this generation in chaos?" Yu Xian looked at a winter sweet flower peeking in from the window, and suddenly chuckled, "It's pretty good. She should be pampered and accompanied by someone." He was very happy. "Hey, no, 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 brother ninth, that's terrible." Next to him, Zishang clapped his hands and shouted. Feng San was a little surprised. "What's wrong? Isn't this a good thing? The Huo family is so strong in Free Continent that they can protect Miss Si." "No, no, no, it's a good thing for Miss Si, but it's definitely not for Brother Ju." Zishang shook his finger, looking enigmatic. "In the past, Miss Si only had relatives from the Yin family. Now there is another Huo family. Brother ninth, you not only have to take care of the Yin family, but also the Huo family. If there is any group of relatives and friends with Miss Si in the future, Brother ninth will be busy." Kenyan spoke so fast that Feng San didn't even have time to stop him. He looked at Kenyan in horror. At this time, he really wanted to dig out Kenyan's brain and see how it grew. "Can you say this in front of ninth brother? You deserve all your bonuses and wages to be deducted." However, Kenyaning apparently didn't realize what kind of crisis it was getting into. He was still talking. "Among the four major families, the Ye family is the strongest, but the Huo family is the most ruthless and difficult to deal with." Yu Xian held his head and raised his eyes lightly. "It seems that your recent mission has been easy." Kenyan was very proud. "The kung fu and techniques Miss Si taught me are very useful. My efficiency in completing tasks has increased several times." "Yes," Yu Xian said in a cool tone, "then let's go to the far north and continue our work." Kenyan was dumbfounded, and his smile disappeared instantly. "Brother ninth." Yu Xian didn't look at him anymore and lowered his head again. "I'll give you 3 minutes to disappear." Feng San finally moved. He twisted Kenyan's arm behind his back, dragged him out, and closed the door. "Third brother. My third brother." Zishang was about to cry but had no tears. "The far north is a place where people can go. I am not an evolver. I will freeze to death. Go and beg brother ninth for me. I've always been serious and dedicated. Brother ninth can't be so ruthless to me." Feng San was cold and callous. "Get out. Stop lowering his emotional intelligence here. He also wants to earn bonuses and get promoted." In the yard, Si fucking cleared her throat and reported to Sang Yanking what happened today. "Sister Sang, I have some bad news for you." Sang Yanking immediately thought of countless possibilities in his mind. For example, blowing up a school, or blowing someone's head off in a public place. These are things her artists can do. "It's a small matter, don't panic." Sang Yanking quickly got into work mode with a serious expression. "You say it?" Si fucking said, "My cute little fans may all have the talent to be prophets." Sang Yanking was confused. "What do you mean by this?" "But you do have a lot of talented fans. Last time, a black fan insulted you, and your fans used computer technology to permanently ban you." Si fucking sighed. Didn't they say that I would never inherit the family property? No, after all, I still want to get another Grain Lifetime Achievement Award. But, just now my grandma's family came to our door. They are really rich, and I was moved. Sang Yanking's heart skipped a beat. Where is your grandma's house? That's the Huo family I'm talking about, I fucking said sadly. Then Xiaoyu and I really became brother and sister. Our mothers are twins. She had a hard fist. Damn it, why am I smaller than him? Sang Yanking. You were asked to work hard to make money, and you directly established a super wealthy family. 8,000 is over, 9,000 is not far away, darlings, please give me 9,000. Everyone vote for Ching Ching. I will code the words, see you in the afternoon. Q reading is about to advance to one place, at the end of the month, my dears, hurry up. Yesterday, I told a reader that tenosynovitis is as torturous as toothache and rhinitis. Everyone who uses computers for a long time must pay attention to their arms. After looking at the things I bought during the Double 11 pre-sale, I fell silent looking at the 16 McDonald's burgers I bought in the live broadcast room. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 717. Sang Yanking felt that this world was very magical. In the past 2 years, the only two top gods in the entertainment industry have the same family blood. As expected, dragon begets dragon and phoenix begets phoenix. The genes are extremely similar. So, Sister Sang, if the persona of me and Xiaoyu's wealthy siblings is revealed in the future, you have to conduct public relations in advance. I fucking touched his chin, but I can also talk to my aunt, uncle, and grandma. Let's discuss it and let Xiaoyu call me sister. What do you think, Sister Sang? Sang Yanking, I want to be quiet. Your family is really in chaos. Then I won't disturb you, Sister Sang. I fucking said cheerfully, I'll go and have a whisper with Brother Ninth. Sang Yanking thought to herself that she would not listen to the young couple's private words. Go ahead, go ahead. But I fucking also reminded her that she had to hurry up and prepare public relations plans for multiple romance exposures. With these two people together, it would be a trivial matter to blow up the entire internet. Tuk 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 dash. There was a knock on the door. Yuzian's ears twitched, and she could tell who it was from the previous footsteps. His frowning eyebrows relaxed and he raised his head from the table. The door is unlocked. With a click, the door opened, and I fucking Mau poked his head in. Brother Ninth, are you busy? Yuzian put down the teacup, waved to her, and smiled slightly, waiting for you. It seems that my cousin has contacted you. I fucking walked over. Did he force you to call him uncle? If he dares, I will break his legs and let you call him uncle for the rest of his life. Shut out. Yuzian laughed softly and rubbed her head. He doesn't dare. Brother Ninth, don't worry, my grandmother and uncle are yours too. I fucking nestled comfortably in his arms like a cat. When I find my father and mother, we will have a family. Home. This word made Yuzian's heart suddenly move. To him, this is a word more luxurious than anything in the world. It turns out that one day, he can also have it. He rubbed the tip of her nose very gently. Okay, listen to the girl. I fucking blinked and suddenly said, Brother Ninth, don't be jealous. In my heart, you are better than Emperor Yin. Yuzian raised his eyebrows and asked in a low voice, why do you say that suddenly? I fucking gave a thumbs up. I'm afraid you don't have confidence in yourself. You are really awesome. She couldn't tell him that Ji Chunyuan was helping Emperor Yin pry into his corner, right? He only found it very interesting and asked her, what about Emperor Yin? I seem to remember that you said more than once that this is your white moonlight male god. Si fucking raised a finger and said with a serious expression, of course it's different. He doesn't have a girlfriend, but you do. You've already defeated him on this point. Zion sighed. She praised him so much and then bullied him. He didn't know whether he was happy or sad for a moment. Si fucking poked his face, I will go to the Eternal Continent, and I must restore my combat power as soon as possible. Go ahead. Zion looked back at her, no matter what, remember that you still have me. Si fucking waved his hand and left the room. Feng San, who was standing outside, looked at the girls retreating back and couldn't help but think to herself. Fortunately, canyoning has now been packed up and sent to the far north. Otherwise, at this time of canyoning, one would inevitably yell out loudly, Brother Ninth is alone in Kirgui again. As soon as this thought came to his mind, Feng San slapped himself. He has indeed been affected by canyoning. On the other side, Freeland. Under Huo Tianwen's orders, Huo Shiyun was sent back to Free Continent by the Huo family's guards. Right at the gate of Huo's house, all her things were thrown out. Even her son, who only had B-level evolutionary blood, was also ordered not to enter the Huo family. Huo Shiyun stood in the biting cold wind, her brain spinning. At this moment, she truly experienced the fear and collapse that she had never experienced in the silent dark room. She kept patting the door of the Huo family mansion, crying and shouting, I was wrong, I was really wrong. Mom, Mom, you have raised me for so many years, you can't just abandon me like this, Mom. After the humiliation and murder of Xie Yangkai was revealed, Huo Shiyun was still calm. Even if Huo Tianwen sends her to the Black Room of Silence, she still believes that Mrs. Huo is here and of course he will not let her die, but will only punish her. Compared with the calamity of life and death that Xie Yangkai suffered, such a punishment would at least prevent her from dying. Huo Shiyun was also very happy. This shows that her status in Mrs. Huo's heart is still higher than that of Xie Yangkai. But she never expected that she was not the daughter of the Huo family at all. At this moment, Huo Shiyun felt regret as never before. Mrs. Huo is not a heartless person. If she had been stable in the Huo family all these years, had not relied on the Huo family to act as a fake power, and had not asked the Huo family to help her get the evolver machine from the Intercontinental Research Institute, then even if she is found out to be not Mrs. Huo's biological child, she can still stay in the Huo family. Now everything and nothing is gone. Huo Shiyun's eyes were dull, like a walking corpse. She has always been high profile and well known, but she doesn't have a good reputation. People passing by looked over frequently. There was disgust, surprise, and ridicule in his eyes. She was kicked out by the Huo family. I heard that she was not a Huo family at all. The children of the Huo family were secretly exchanged. It's really strange. This old woman finally has no backstage. Tisk tisk, let's just watch. With all the evil she has done before, if she can walk around Free Continent unharmed for 5 minutes, I lose. It was exactly as others expected. Huo Shiyun had only been walking for 3 minutes. Before she left the Huo family's territory, she was blocked by a middle-aged man with several A-level evolvers. Huo Shiyun, you have today too. The middle-aged man looked at her hard, take her away. Huo Shiyun was startled, you, who are you? I will give you money, and I still have a lot of money. Huo Shiyun, are you kidding me? Do you think I will let you go? The middle-aged man sneered, you caused my daughter to lose her legs in the Eternal College exam, and she still can't walk on the ground, just because of her I don't want to be your dog. Why, have you forgotten all these things? Huo Shiyun's body trembled suddenly. Her teeth kept trembling, I don't have it. I don't have the blood of an evolver, and I have never been to the Eternal Continent at all. Yes, you haven't been there, but you have a lot of minions. The middle-aged man's eyes were cold and chilly to the bone. I have been thinking about when you will die. I am not afraid of the Huo family, but it's a pity that you are too cautious. I bring a lot of guards with me every time I travel. Huo Shiyun's body trembled even more. She wanted to turn around and run, but her legs were weak and she was frozen in place, unable to move. Now it's really an eye-opener. You've been kicked out of the Huo family, and you don't even have a guard. The middle-aged man just felt so happy. Let me see who else can protect you today. Don't kill her, and also cripple her legs. They have to be saved for others. Let's just take the small head. In Free Continent, the chance of survival for people like Huo Shiyun is close to zero. What's more, she has committed too many sins in the past, and she is not the only one waiting to kill her. Huo Shiyun felt regret like never before, and her tears of regret were all gone. She never thought she would get to where she is today. All because she wanted to humiliate and kill Xie Yang Kaiu. But now, Huo Shiyun knew that she was completely finished. The next day, Sci-fi lay in the game cabin for another night. After sleeping for 8 hours, with the bonus of sleep mode, she trained with Ji Chunyuan for 80 hours. She did find that she could see things much more clearly. Brother Ji Xingzi called her in the yard. "Brother, are you okay? My old man is holding a meeting of the elders today. Please come over and give me some advice." "Here we come." Sci-fi splashed cold water on her face, finished arranging her clothes, then pushed the door open and went out. "Everyone else thinks the Ji family can't handle it." Ji Xingzi sighed, "but I don't want to die yet. I want to follow you to Free Continent to pick up gold." Sci-fi said coldly and ruthlessly, "Then you'd better die. In this world, only gold cannot be given away." Xiaobai screamed and stared at Ji Xingzi fiercely. "Don't steal its food rations." Ji Xingzi. The two came to Ji's conference hall. After thousands of years, the display and decoration have basically remained unchanged. Sci-fi felt as if he had suddenly returned to the Great Xia dynasty. When they saw her following Ji Xingzi in, the expressions of several elders changed slightly. "Master, even if the Ji family has reached the point of life and death, there is no need for an outsider to intervene." The third elder spoke directly, with a hint of displeasure in his voice. "The prophecy of our ancestors cannot be changed, even if other family alliances still can't change it. If you are not allowed to enter Ji's house, why do you let an outsider sit here instead? Can she change the ancestors' prophecy, or can she preserve the bloodline of my Ji family?" "Ching ching, it's a coincidence, everything will work. It's not far away from 9,000. If you still have a lot of votes, please support Ching Ching. 9,000 for extra updates. See you tomorrow." After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 718. The current situation of the Ji family seems to be peaceful, but in fact it is secretly turbulent. The younger generation still doesn't know what kind of disaster the Ji family is facing. The body of elders is also unwilling to place too great a burden on them. It's just that several elders are very worried about how to ensure the continuity of the Ji family's bloodline. They have lived enough and it doesn't matter if they die. We can't let the juniors suffer like this too. Mr. Ji frowned and couldn't help scolding. "Third old man, do you know that she dash?" Sci-fi stopped his next words. She shook her head slightly. "Mr. Ji, these elders don't know anything about it. If it were me, I would ask the same question. After all, it is about the survival of a family. Elders should be cautious." After hearing these words, the third elder's expression softened. "Little girl, I am definitely not targeting you. It's just that you don't understand this matter about the Ji family, so you really can't help." The first elder sighed and said, "The sky has become increasingly chaotic recently. In fact, our Ji family has been fighting against destiny. Disasters from heaven are unavoidable, and our ancestors have long anticipated them." The second elder, who had been silent for a long time, also spoke. I thought that by hiding from the world, I could survive this disaster, but I didn't expect that it wouldn't work. For onmyoji, stargazing and physiognomy are the most basic. Most onmyojis have the ability to communicate between the two realms of yin and yang, and can also reverse the yin and yang and the five elements through onmyoji. It can be said to be going against the will of heaven. Therefore, onmyojis perform onmyoji in a way that consumes their lives. This is also the reason why many talented onmyojis die early. Sci-Fi's eyebrows were steady and he spoke slowly. The prophecy of ancestor Ji Chun Yuan can be changed, and the Ji family can also stay. This is impossible. The third elder was a little excited. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors predicted that no one would return to the Zhang family. In the end, even the youngest Zhang Ziyu died in the battle. Miss Si, you play Zhang Ziyu, you should know this history. Hearing these words, the veins on Sci-Fi's arms jumped. The Zhang family will always be her pain. Originally supposed to be one of the four great aristocratic families, the Zhang family has been forever buried in the river of history. At that time, she had the ability but couldn't use it, so she could only watch them leave. No matter what, she must protect the Ji family. I said yes, and I will try my best. Sci stood up, but in order to make the elders believe that I am qualified to sit here, I can't just say, please come outside with me. The three elders looked at each other, a little confused, but still followed him out. It's late December now. Dongzhou originally didn't see any snow in late winter, but at this time this year, it has already started to snow heavily. The snow was up to my feet, and only the pines and bamboos were still standing upright in the yard, while other plants had long since withered. Such abnormal celestial phenomena have proved that Ji Chun Yuan's prediction is also coming true step by step. Sci raised her hand and suddenly said, "Spring is coming." At this moment, it was as if heaven and earth had received orders. The original heavy snow dissipated instantly, and green buds sprouted from the bare trees, forming a green shade in an instant. The ice and snow in the lotus pond melted, and within seconds, lotus flowers bloomed and carps jumped out. The entire courtyard fell into dead silence. The third elder suddenly opened his eyes wide and said in shock, "This is the spring rejuvenation technique of our ancestors." In the blink of an eye, flowers, plants, and trees that had lost their vitality can regain their vitality. This is very similar to turning back time. Therefore, this type of onmyoji is extremely difficult to learn and requires extremely high talent. Mr. G can also do this. But you need to set up the formation first, and then cast the yin and yang technique. But there are people who can bring spring back to the earth in the blink of an eye. The great elder was lost in thought. It's our ancestor. Of course, they have never seen Ji Chun Yuan perform this technique in person, but there are records in the ancient books of the Ji family. Ji Xingzi's jaw almost dropped. Brother, when did you know this trick? Sci said truthfully, not long ago. But in fact, she had been trained severely by Ji Chun Yuan for a long time in the Great Xia dynasty. Ji Xingzi. Listen, is this what people say? This is what I want to say. I have the ability to help the Ji family. Sci's eyes were steady. Please believe me, I will learn more yin and yang techniques in the shortest possible time. After she said hello to Mr. Ji, she went back to the game cabin. The three elders were all shocked by Sci's hand. I don't even know when she left. The third elder spoke tremblingly, could this be a dream from our ancestors? Otherwise, how could this lost yin-yang technique still appear? Bah, you old guys don't know your stuff. Mr. G snorted coldly, Miss Si is a girl of luck, you know nothing. The third elder's eyes widened, but I just saw that she didn't show any luck at all. Mr. G thought for a moment, this girl is so powerful. She may have found some way to hide her luck. This is also a good thing for her. The third elder nodded slowly, if someone teaches me, then this person is really terrifying. He was slightly relieved, but still worried. Because no one knows what will happen at the end of the year. They can only wait. But with Sci-fucking, the chance of winning will indeed be greater. At this moment, Freeland. After listening to Huo Yangxing's story about the Huo family's family recognition, Yu Jian raised his eyebrows in surprise. Are you serious? She put her hand on his forehead and said with a serious expression, I don't have a fever either. Huo Yangxing. The world was really bad to him. I'm serious. Huo Yangxing pinched his eyebrows. I have been kicked out by my dad because he said I am a third-class citizen in the Huo family. He recounted the entire series of events in which Huo Tianwen used an extremely miraculous method to drag Sci-fucking to undergo a paternity test. Tsukimi. She began to ponder whether she should suggest to the second child to set up a perception department in T18. If you do tasks based on perception, your success rate may be higher. Yu Jian groaned, don't you have a place to live? Huo Yangxing nodded, looking a little pitiful. Yu Jian said happily, there happens to be a mission that requires a business trip. T18 will reimburse you for hotel accommodation, so you can go. Huo Yangxing. Is it possible to win the other party's sympathy by pretending to be a big dog that got wet in the rain? He looked lonely. Seeing how pitiful he was, Yu Jian hesitated, I still have an empty room over there, otherwise you dash. Huo Yangxing, okay. Tsukimi. She handed over the key silently, always feeling that something was wrong. After achieving his goal, Huo Yangxing left the bar opened by T18 and prepared to move all his things in first. After a few seconds, Tan Jingmo walked out from behind Yu Jian. Lao San, this Huo Yangxing is beyond your control. Be careful that you are played by him. Yu Jian said sincerely, second brother, I haven't remembered his face yet. Tan Jingmo smiled, it's not a big problem, because you can't remember my face either. This is what he, Sci-fucking and several other senior brothers are confused about. After all, their faces are extremely outstanding, why can't you me remember them? There will be another mission soon. Tan Jingmo changed the topic, contact Ling and ask their chief and junior sister to meet at some time. Yu Jian raised her eyebrows, you haven't given up on marriage, have you? She hasn't told the second child yet that their precious junior sister already has a boyfriend. She had to wait for the right moment to watch her dick dance. This picture is very beautiful when you think about it. Of course I won't send my junior sister to Ling's side, Tan Jingmo said lightly, as long as she has fought against Ling's chief once, she will be familiar with him, and maybe she can find out the other party's identity. Zero and T18 have been fighting each other for so many years, but they have not been able to reveal the identities of each other's top leaders. Huo Yangxing also remained tight-lipped. T18 needs to seize the opportunity. Yu Jian nodded, I understand, I'll get ready right now. Night. Zero's investigator appeared quietly at Ji's house. Yu Zian was making tea and said in a light voice, what's wrong? My lord, the young man hesitated, T18 has sent me news. I hope you can come forward directly for the next cooperation. Accordingly, they will send the leader of the action team to meet with you, Lord. I hope you can have a pleasant cooperation. Hearing these words, Feng San was stunned. Isn't this the director of the operations department who T18 said a few years ago that he would marry Brother Ju? The young man said bravely, yes. Unexpectedly, a few years later, T18 would be mentioned again. Yu Zian's tone was cold, I won't go, I refuse. 9,000. Thank you all for your support, I will give you 3 updates today. In the last 2 days at the end of the month, those who have tickets can give tens of thousands to Ching Ching and His Majesty. It will expire if you don't invest. Scored 3 times. His Majesty. I am really my mother, look at my big innocent eyes. A lot of people are concerned about when it will be finished. I am not sure, but the main text will definitely be finished early next year. The main chapters will not exceed 1,000 chapters, but I will definitely continue my style and fill in all the holes that need to be filled. I really didn't expect that what I wrote was longer than Ying Huang. It's possible that I didn't write enough and it was longer. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 719. This answer was expected by Feng San and the investigator. T18 must have seen Huo Yangxing being abducted and wanted to abduct Yu Xian as well. Therefore, the matter of marriage was brought up again. But how is this possible? Even if Chief Margaret was one of the rare beauties in the rumors, she could not compare with Miss Si. In the past 2 years, Yu Xian has stayed in the Daxia Empire for a longer period of time. He has already handed over all the authority to Ling and is no longer in charge. The investigator added, but Lord, what T18 means is that if Lord can come forward, they are willing to give us 30%. Generally both parties are 50-50. Letting Sanchinj out, this is the first time T18 has been so generous. Yu Xian was silent. Feng San thought for a moment and then spoke tentatively, Brother Ninth, why don't need them to give in? How about letting T18 take this credit to Miss Si and give Miss Si more promotions? Yu Xian raised his eyes and raised his eyebrows slightly, well, go ahead and tell them that I will come forward and we can talk about the rest after we meet. Feng San immediately knew that he had received his bonus, and felt happy. The search officer understood and went down to reply. T18 headquarters. Yu Jian brought Zero's reply to Tan Jingmo. Tan Jingmo narrowed his eyes, I agreed so quickly. I always feel like there is something fishy. Ling's people are not reliable and are very insidious. Yu Jian swirled the red wine in the glass, I think Huo Yangxing is quite reliable. Tan Jingmo glanced at her, he is now T18, and you signed him. Tsukimi. She thought thoughtfully, you don't want junior sister to use a beauty trap to bring Zero's chief to our T18, so that Zero and T18 can become one, right? I do want to merge the two into one. Tan Jingmo raised his eyebrows and chuckled, but with my little junior sister's temperament, it is more suitable for her to subdue her with fists. Yes, after all, junior sister Yu Jian swallowed back the word boyfriend and said seriously, second brother, you are not young anymore. You are in your 30s. It's time to find a companion. Unexpectedly, Tan Jingmo did not reply at all this time. He put away his lazy expression and stared silently at the shadow cast by the neon lights outside the window. After a long time, he said, let's go. Tsukimi shrugged. After leaving T18, she contacted Sci-fi and mentioned one more thing about Jingmo's reaction, Xiaju, you said that the second child has not been hurt in any way, and is he going to be alone for the rest of his life? He is so willing to go on a blind date with the sixth child, why doesn't he care about his own lifelong affairs? Sci-fi also fell silent. Ye Banglan's death had a huge impact on her, and Lu Qingning's death had a huge impact on Tan Jingmo. The virtual and real worlds are separated and can never meet. They couldn't even find any trace of them, and could only scream in despair in the void. So she couldn't imagine what kind of mental state Tan Jingmo was in during the 3 years after her death. If it were her, the collapse would be easy. After she died in the explosion, it jumped directly to 3 years later. As far as Tan Jingmo is concerned, it has been almost 10 years since he lost Lu Qingning. Of course she couldn't persuade Tan Jingmo to come out. After all, she couldn't forget it after all these years. The thoughts of revenge only get worse. She also couldn't imagine turning the tide at night and Lu Qingning getting old. Time always stays in their youth. And in this world, it turns out that there are really people who can live their lives relying on memories. By the way, the second in command will ask you to go on the next mission. Zero has responded and their chief will be here. Yu Jian said slowly, junior sister, are you going? I'll go. Sci-fi came to his senses and made a decisive decision, just watch, I will push him to the ground and hammer him. Yu Jian raised his eyebrows. Then I'll wait for the good news from you, junior sister. I'll find an opportunity for you and my second brother to meet later. Sci-Fucking's voice was solemn. You should also pay attention to safety. Tsukimi said, don't worry. After the call ended, Sci-Fucking stretched. It was just time for dinner, and Feng San came to invite her to dinner. Yu Zian arranged the dishes for her, reached out and rubbed her head. What are you thinking about? Sci-Fucking clenched his hard fists and said, a nasty guy robbed my things and mocked me for being robbed. In fact, the chief at that time didn't say anything, he just looked at her one more time. But she can guarantee that there is definitely a mocking meaning in this look. Ah, Feng San was surprised. How dare someone do this to you, Miss Si? Brother Ninth, you must not be lenient. Yu Zian hummed lightly. You don't need to. Sci-Fucking emphasized, I must defeat him personally. Last time he attacked me sneakily. This time he waited and I asked him to pay me back 100 times. Hearing the word sneak attack, Yu Zian was silent for a moment. He thought of the time he killed her in Oracle and was always called a sneak attack monster by her. Sci-Fucking obviously thought about it with him. She raised her hand and touched his head, comforting him, Brother Ninth, that annoying guy is different from you. Yu Zian smiled slightly, let's eat. Meanwhile, late at night. In a dark alley in Free Continent. There is blood on the ground that has not dried up yet. A figure was lying on the ground, breathing weakly, and the air could barely come out. In just 2 days, Huo Shiyun suffered unprecedented abuse. The people she had bullied before came one after another, leaving her breathless. And she doesn't know how many people will be waiting to take revenge on her. She is going to die. Huo Shiyun thought, feeling increasingly desperate. I don't know how much time passed, but Huo Shiyun felt a pain in her jaw as something was stuffed into her mouth. She struggled, but was surprised to find that the injuries inside her were getting better. It's so pitiful. Someone sighed softly above her head. It was a young man. You could have lived a prosperous and wealthy life in the Huo family all your life. Why do you think they would get your biological child back? What's up? As Huo Shiyun listened, her shoulders trembled even more fiercely, and a fierce and resentful light burst out in her eyes. Xia Yangqiu deserves to die. Don't be afraid, help people to the end, I will help you, the young man said with a smile. Don't you always want a machine that allows you to have the ability of an evolver in a short time? I can give it to you. Huo Shiyun was stunned. You. Her expression suddenly changed. You are from the Revenge Organization. The Revenge Organization, the young man seemed to have thought of something, and laughed slightly contemptuously. Soon you will know that the Revenge Organization is actually nothing. There was another sentence he didn't say. Huo Shiyun couldn't wait for that day. Huo Shiyun opened her eyes wide. The Revenge Organization is a reactionary force that can compete with the Holy Light Judgment. How can it be nothing? The young man followed the instructions and said, this is the key. The armor equipment you want is in this warehouse. When you get it, no evolver below S level will be your opponent. Huo Shiyun's eyes burst with hope. If she can get the mecha, then she can kill Xia Yangqiu, and Xia Yu. The young man saw what she was thinking. Go ahead. Huo Shiyun grabbed the key and ran away without looking back. The young man sneered softly, the Huo family is really stupid, giving this opportunity in vain. He turned to leave. But at this moment, something strange happened. Really, a faint voice said, why do you think we fell into your trap? Instead of you, you were lured out by us. The young man's steps paused. At this moment, he felt like his hair was standing on end. He snapped, who? Footsteps finally sounded, and someone gradually appeared from the darkness. The faint moonlight illuminated the old man's face. Her hair is silver and her face is old. But he was energetic and the light in his eyes was clear and sharp. The overbearing aura exuding from his body is only found in the top S class. Mrs. Huo looked at him calmly. I've been waiting for you for a long time. She is just old, not dead. It's almost 9,500. Babies, vote for Ching Ching. One vote for you and one for me. I'll go ahead and write 3 for everyone, isn't it better? When I was having a hard time studying and solving questions, my mother told me that she went to the park to enjoy the autumn scenery and sent me a bunch of photos. Biological mother. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 720. Anyone who can join the Eternal College Law Enforcement Team and serve as captain has the ability to be the dean. Mrs. Huo's secret wounds were almost healed with the tea picked up by Huo Yangxing. She had already noticed the young man the first moment he appeared. It's just that she didn't come out immediately, but listened to the conversation between the young man and Huo Shiyun. Mrs. Huo also had absolute confidence that she could stop this young man by herself. The young man's reaction was also very fast, and he ran away. However, the next second, he suddenly stopped moving. Not only did he stop moving, but the wind also stopped. Time pauses. Just paused for a second. But for experts, 0.1 seconds is enough for them to do a lot of things. With a click sound, Mrs. Huo pinched the young man's throat. 2 more clicks and violently shattered his legs. Ah! The excruciating pain made the young man unable to help screaming. Mrs. Huo locked his chin in time so that he could speak without biting his tongue and killing himself. Tell me, what is your purpose? As soon as she asked this question, she saw blood seeping out of the young man's body. Mrs. Huo's expression changed. You have no chance of winning. He kept spitting out blood. So what if you kill me, you guys? His strength exhausted, he fell to the ground without making a sound. Mrs. Huo's expression became more and more serious. Mom Huo Tianwen appeared. He was holding Huo Shiyun in one hand and the key in the other. Mrs. Huo turned back. How? Huo Tianwen nodded. Yes, I went to see the warehouse over there. There is indeed a mecha. I asked Yangxing to collect it. Mrs. Huo didn't even look at Huo Shiyun. Okay, I'll contact Ching Ching, and you can handle the rest. No problem. After Huo Tianwen asked Huo Yangxing to pick up Mrs. Huo, his eyes slowly fell on Huo Shiyun. Huo Shiyun shuddered. Brother is not me, I was bewitched. I won't do anything to you, Huo Tianwen said calmly. I will send you to where you should go. Huo Shiyun's eyes suddenly widened. I don't dash. His voice got stuck in his throat. Huo Tianwen tapped her dumb hole. His actions had nothing to do with Lian Xiangziu, and he threw her back into the alley. What awaits Huo Shiyun after that is only more retribution. At the same time, Sci-fi received a call from Mrs. Huo. Ching Ching, you guessed it right, the person behind the scenes has indeed appeared. Mrs. Huo exhaled slowly, but it's a pity that he is just a little guy and didn't ask anything. The only thing that can be inferred is that it is related to the revenge organization, and it is what they will do. It's just that this little guy's attitude towards the revenge organization is also very strange. The revenge organization is very strong, otherwise it would not have taken root in Free Continent for decades and has not been uprooted by the judgment of the Holy Light. It will not attract many senior members of the Intercontinental Research Institute and Eternal College to defect. If revenge organizations are nothing, is there anything stronger than revenge organizations? If it were true, no one in Free Continent could resist it. I understand, Grandma, please pay attention to everything. Sci-fi's voice deepened. You must have been one of the other party's targets back then, otherwise you wouldn't have gotten pregnant by chance. Mrs. Huo's eyes were sharper. I know, but if they dare to come, I won't be afraid. As a result, she and her daughters were separated for more than 40 years. Unforgivable. I fucking chatted with Mrs. Huo for a few more words and then ended the call. She put on her game clothes and lay down in the game cabin, entering the game in sleep mode again. Time goes back to the Great Xia dynasty. It was morning in the Great Xia dynasty at this time. The morning light is faint and the wind is blowing. Today Ji Chunyuan rarely changed into a white robe. Although he has reached the age where he wants to do what he wants, his face is still as young as a 30-year-old man, but he still has the wisdom, erudition, stability, and restraint of a 70-year-old. I fucking had learned yin-yang magic from Ji Chunyuan for nearly a month, and had never seen him look so solemn before. She said, "Ancestor." Hush! Ji Chunyuan suddenly said, "Here he comes." I fucking's expression changed slightly and he suddenly looked up. Where Ji Chunyuan pointed, she could see a mighty army passing by the Dongling Sea, trying to enter the coast of Dongzhou. This is no ordinary enemy force. This is summoned from the world of the dead through the gate of the dead by a caring person. Therefore, no one can stop him except Ji Chunyuan. Ji Chunyuan put his hands behind his back and said lightly, "The time has finally arrived." I fucking's heart was shocked. Today is the day when Ji Chunyuan's body and soul disappear. He is like countless Zhang family members. He knew that it was hard to disobey destiny, but he still had no hesitation. But she could only stand here again, unable to do anything. I fucking's voice was hoarse, "Ancestor." As if he knew what she was going to say, Ji Chunyuan waved his hand to stop her. After he finished burning the incense, he straightened his clothes and walked out. And beside him, the power of yin-yang and the 5 elements has risen majestically, and no one can get close. There was too much movement on the sea, how could the rest of the Ji family not see it? But the Ji family's house was under a yin-yang spell by Ji Chunyuan. They couldn't get out, so they could only kneel down and beg. "Master! Master, please come back. There must be another way. Master, the Ji family cannot live without you. The waves are rough and the turbid waves are emptying." Ji Chunyuan moved forward step by step, walking towards the center of the sea as if walking on flat ground in the sea. "Look, this is the last move I can give you." His voice came with the sea breeze. Lang Lang was clear, "There is no name, but there is no need for a name. But as long as it is used, foreigners will be banned from Ardaxia." At this moment, opposite Ji Chunyuan, there were thousands of troops. In comparison, he looked extremely small. But his momentum at this moment was overwhelming. Above the Dongling Sea, Ji Chunyuan just raised his head and said a word lightly. "Roll." As if a god gave an order at this moment, the waves surged more violently, but the enemy army was submerged by the sea. One by one. A few meters away from the Dongzhou coastline, the army dissipated in an instant. It seems like an understatement, and even the strength is useless. Before the children of the Ji family had time to cheer, they were horrified to see Ji Chunyuan's long black hair turning silver in an instant. His face also aged at a speed visible to the naked eye. The white mist gradually swallowed his body. I fucking still couldn't step forward and could only watch helplessly. A soft sigh fell in her ear, "I'm not as good as you, I can only accept my fate." At the end, in the white mist, Ji Chunyuan turned around and bowed to Dongzhou from a distance. He actually smiled again. The sound spread softly in the air. "Your Majesty, we are meeting again." On September 27, 685 in the lunar calendar, Ji Chunyuan defeated 1,000 troops by himself, suppressed the rebel forces in Dongling Hai, sealed the Gate of the Dead, and protected the people of Dongzhou for eternal peace. Some people say that he is not dead. Like Emperor Yin, he is an immortal from heaven who came to earth to help Daxia overcome the disaster. After this calamity, they returned to heaven again. I fucking knew that after death, People would turn into stars and hang in the sky. Maybe Ji Chun Yuan is the same. He never left and always guarded this land. Late at night, the moon and stars were covered by dark clouds. The snow that fell during the day has not yet melted, and the temperature is extremely low. Sci walked barefoot to the beach. She leaned against the rock, looking a little dazed. Another footstep sounded at this moment. Stop in front of her. Why are you running outside so late? Yu Zian leaned down, held her ankles, and frowned slightly. You haven't put on your shoes yet. Sci finally came to his senses. I am an evolver and an onmyoji. He took out his shoes and put them on for her, saying calmly, she is still a little girl. Sci looked at him, I'm not young. Yes, he smiled calmly and said, it's not too small. Sci wrapped the coat that Yu Zian handed her and looked at Dongling Hai, which was no longer calm. It is indeed very similar to what it was thousands of years ago. She might be able to guess that the disaster Ji Chun Yuan was talking about was that the gate of the dead opened again and the enemy attacked again. But no one in the Ji family can stop him. But she seemed to be a bug, and returned to the great Xia dynasty through the game cabin, and learned the lost onmyoji from Ji Chun Yuan. Sci looked solemn, brother ninth, there's going to be a war. Yu Zian touched her head and smiled softly, then let's fight. After hearing these 4 words, Sci raised her head and stared at him. More updates. It's almost 10,000 votes. It's the last day at the end of the month. If you have votes, please vote quickly. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 721. At this moment, she could vaguely see a shadow. Sci stood on tiptoes and held his face in her hands. Yu Zian lowered his head according to the strength of her hand, his eyes darkened for a moment, and he smiled, what's wrong? Don't move. Sci pinched his face, let me see, be good. Her coaxing tone made Yu Zian smile slightly, okay, look. As he got closer and concentrated his attention, Sci was sure that he indeed saw a phantom on him. This is the soul that Ji Chun Yuan refers to. It is never the body that is eternal, but the soul. She could indeed separate her soul from her body, but it was still a blur. No form whatsoever. But with such results within 1 month, Sci was very satisfied. Ji Chun Yuan has passed away, and she can only continue to practice in reality. Yu Zian didn't feel that this posture made him uncomfortable. Seeing that she was staring at him without moving, he asked again, Qing, what's wrong? Look, how come my boyfriend is so good looking? Sci coldly increased the strength of his hand, don't move. Take advantage of me. She pressed his lips tentatively and bit them contentedly. After doing all this, she gained some energy and was ready to go back. However, as soon as she turned around, her wrist was grabbed. The next second he was pressed against the rock wall. The calamity method is not very accurate, Yu Zian said calmly, I can teach you. Sci raised his hands and made a cross in front of his chest, I refuse. You are a bandit, and I will not let you kiss me for an hour. As expected, he didn't move, he just picked her up and said, go back. Sci had been training in the game cabin these days. After finally getting into bed, he quickly fell asleep. Yu Zian put the quilt on her and walked out. The sky has turned slightly white. It was also at this time that he received a call from Zero headquarters. My lord, the investigator reported the news about T-18 to him. The director of the T-18 operations department is happy to meet with you and expressed his strong willingness to cooperate. Yes, I understand. Yu Zian didn't show any unnecessary expression, I will go there in person after finishing my business in Daxia. Yes, Lord. At the end of the call, while the investigator was still in a daze, he was slapped on the head. He was startled, and when he turned around, he found that all the brothers and sisters in the office had gathered around him. It looked like a three-chamber trial. The investigator stammered, "What are you doing?" Everyone stared at him and asked in unison, "Go find the Lord." "Have you seen the mistress?" The investigator hesitated for a moment and said, "I seem to have accidentally seen the screensaver on the master's cell phone. It's a girl." "Wow!" The exclamations kept coming and going. Many people in Zero have never met Uzion, but they all admire him in awe. They are also familiar with Uzion's style. Speak few words and kill decisively. It is difficult to contaminate these 4 words between him and the mortal world. It's even more unimaginable that one day he would actually do what a boyfriend should do. Everyone thought about it for a while, then grabbed the search officer and started to investigate. "Do you only see the screensaver? Then you are too bad." "That's right, I still do intelligence work. My professional skills are too poor. Why don't you let me report to the master next time? I will definitely see clearly how tall the mistress is." "Investigator, get out of here." After everyone sighed, they returned to their offices. The investigator touched his head and recalled the screensaver photo he had seen. The more he thought about it, the more familiar it became. "But for a long time I couldn't remember where he had seen it, so fortunately I just gave up. Until a message popped up on my phone. Warmly celebrate the end of Genkyo's Female Generals round of stars. SI fucking Grand Slam booking after viewing. Below is a picture of SI fucking." The investigator looked at the person who looked exactly like Uzion on the screensaver and fell into silence. This world must be in trouble. On the other side, Dongsang. Fujiyama was destroyed, and Sakai and Takaizawa were also dealt with. Dongsang's Onmyoji family has become more settled, not to mention some small Onmyoji families. Last time, more than 30 Onmyojis from the Sakai family, including the head of the Sakai family, left forever, which was a painful blow to the Sakai family. The elder of the Sakai family also stepped up the training of family members. But it is too difficult to cultivate an excellent Onmyoji. Resources and talents are indispensable. The Sakai family looked at the Onmyojis who were practicing and sighed deeply. Suddenly, a voice suddenly sounded from behind him. "How come I just haven't been here for a while, and you are now in such a mess?" There was no warning, and the eldest elder of the Sakai family felt a numbness on his back. Onmyoji's perception is stronger than that of evolvers. How come he didn't notice anything? The eldest elder of the Sakai family turned back sharply, but his eyes were fixed. In front of him was a woman. The whole body is wrapped in black clothes, the figure is graceful, the skin is snowy and the lips are red. The woman showed a flawless smile. "We meet again, Kong Long." "It's you." The eldest elder of the Sakai family took a breath, his face full of disbelief. "Why don't you age? Onmyojis are human beings too. Human beings will suffer from birth, old age, illness, and death. Not to mention other ordinary people. But the woman in front of me looks exactly the same as she did decades ago." He was still a young man when he first met a woman decades ago. By now he is very old, more than 80 years old. This woman has not changed at all. The eldest elder of the Sakai family was shocked and could not speak for a while. The trusted Sakai family leader saw this and came over with some doubts. "Great elder, this is Dash. When did there be an extra person here?" Other members of the direct line also gathered around. The eldest elder of the Sakai family took a deep breath. "It's normal for you not to know that this gentleman brought very precious ancient books to our 4 yin and yang families in Dongsang a few years ago. It is from these ancient books that our strength is getting stronger and stronger, and we can overwhelm Daxia." But he really never thought that one day he would be able to see this woman again. The head of the Sakai family was in awe. "Thank you for your kindness." The woman didn't care. "It's a trivial matter." The eldest elder of the Sakai family calmed down after being frightened. Onmyoji is inherently mysterious. Back then, this woman could give them so many yin and yang skills at her fingertips, so it was not unusual for her to have a beautiful face that lasted forever. The head of the Sakai family bowed respectfully. "May I ask why you are here, sir?" The woman's smile widened. "What do you think about letting the G family disappear?" This sentence was like a thunderclap. The eldest elder of the Sakai family's pupils shrank suddenly. "Sir, with the G family gone, who can still prove that yin-yang and the 5 elements were created by Daxia?" The woman smiled slightly. "From now on, you, Dongsang, will be the orthodox one. Isn't that good?" This sentence made a few people feel hot in their hearts. Good. Although Onmyoji is more popular in Dongsang than in Daxia now, there are Onmyoji almost everywhere. But every time they talk about yin-yang and 5 elements, there is always a big mountain pressing on them. That is Daxia. The ancestors of the Fujiyama family traveled west to Daxia in 704 of the lunar calendar. At that time, Daxia entered a period of unprecedented prosperity, and people from all walks of life came to worship, including Dongsang. Daxia is also worthy of the style of a great dynasty. Later, I didn't know why the G family hid from the world, but no matter what, the G family was the orthodox one. The eldest elder of the Sakai family shook his head. "Sir, do you think we don't want to do it? But we have no choice. A good opportunity will come soon." Late at night on December 31st, the day before the new year, the door of the dead that has been silent for thousands of years on the Dongling Sea will be completely opened, the woman said lightly. "It is also the best way to communicate with the world of the dead. The timing is when the power of yin-yang and 5 elements is most powerful. You probably don't know that this is also the day Ji Chunyuan predicted that the Ji family would be destroyed. Ji Chunyuan's famous name Dongsang is known to everyone. Although Ji Chunyuan was already deceased when the ancestor of the Tengshan family traveled west to Daxia, his influence was unparalleled. The eldest elder of the Sakai family asked anxiously, "What do we need to do?" "In order to make the G family disappear completely, you can take the opportunity to set up a formation." The woman smiled again. "Cooperate with the army emerging from the gate of the dead to summon the night parade of hundreds of ghosts." The elder of the Sakai family was moved, but he thought of a key person. He gritted his teeth. "I don't know if you know that Yu Wu is very powerful in combat. If she takes action, we are no match for her." Yu Wu, the woman had indeed never heard of it before. She snorted. "So what if she is very powerful in combat? Unless she gets Ji Chunyuan's support, is that possible? The last day, don't waste your monthly tickets. Q is only 70 votes away from the previous one. With each vote you and I will get you into the top spot. Everyone has great imagination, and some of them are very close." Awesome.